Mr. President, we just learned that Nancy Pelosi has announced she's sending articles of impeachment next week to the Senate. What's your reaction?
Well, I think it's ridiculous. She should have sent them a long time ago. It belittles the process. What they've done to impeachment, it's like I was interviewed by a very, very good writer, reporter, somebody that you know very well. I could say Bob Woodward. He said he's doing something, and this time I said, maybe I'll sit down. Because nobody's done more than me. I mean, nobody, if you look at 3 years with the economy, with regulations, with the tax cuts, with everything, all the things, we've rebuilt our military. Our military was totally depleted. Our military was old and depleted. And he said, you know, you don't look like somebody who's under impeachment. As you know, he slightly covered Nixon, and he covered Clinton. But Bob Woodward, he said, you actually look like you've won everything. You look happy. I said, I am happy. So maybe I'm wired a little bit differently.
Impeachment managers, anyone that you would prefer to see? She hasn't named them yet.
We have a team. No, we have a team.
Her impeachment managers.
But I would love to ask a couple of their people some questions like, Schiff, why did he lie? Why did he make up my statement? Totally made it up. But again, the whole thing unraveled when I put in the transcript, because it's all about the transcript, and it's all about the president of Ukraine saying he did nothing wrong.
How long do you think this will last?
Well, it depends. If they have a trial, it probably takes a few days or a week, and or unless we want to have a bigger trial where we bring in the whistleblower, which I'd love to do, and I'd love to bring in the informer who disappeared. I'd love to bring in the second whistleblower who disappeared. I'd love to bring in the inspector general. Why did he bring it up there? He should have never done it. He didn't want to see the call. He didn't want to see the call. He took this whistleblower, who's a fraud. He took the whistleblower's report and he put it in. They said to him, no, if that's the case, if you have to do that, what we'll do is we'll show you the actual call. No, I don't want to see it. What's that all about? Why did he do that? Inspector General. So I'd like to interview the Inspector General. Why did he do that? And put everybody through.
You worried about future presidents? What this is going to do to the presidency in the future?
I think it cheapened the word impeachment. I think impeachment's a very ugly word, but I think this cheapened the word impeachment. I think Nancy Pelosi and Schiff, you know, because he's corrupt. I mean, here's a guy stands up at the United States Congress and repeats a conversation, except it was a fraud. He made up a conversation. He was saying my conversation, and it was totally wrong. And he knew it. He said, don't call me, I'll call you. That's from The Godfather. That's a mafia statement. I never said that. He said 8 times quid pro quo. It was no times. He made up a conversation and repeated it in front of Congress. And because he has immunity, we can't do anything about it. I'd like to say, why did you do that? No, these people are frauds, and it's very bad. No, they've cheapened the word impeachment. It's a bad word to start off with. I really say it. It's an ugly word. To me, it's a very ugly word. But maybe it played to our benefit.
When we talk about impeachment now, it looks like McConnell is agreeing with Josh Hawley's proposition to dismiss these articles of impeachment if Pelosi doesn't send them over. My question to you is, why not have them dismissed today? Why wouldn't McConnell just say, we're done with these games? Or do you want a trial?
Well, in many ways, I'd like a trial. And I'd love to have Sleepy Joe Biden. I'd love to have his son. I call him Where's Hunter. I've changed his first name to Where. Where's Hunter? I'd love to have the whistleblower who wrote a fake report. The whistleblower is a person that is... You know who the whistleblower is. By the way, everybody knows who the whistleblower is. But if you mention the name of the
still working in the White House?
Everybody, I don't want to say, but everybody knows about the whistleblower. And they know about the whistleblower's lawyer. But then, do you remember? There was a second whistleblower. I want to know what happened to the second whistleblower. What happened to the informer? Remember that, an informer? They all disappeared when I gave the transcript, because I gave a transcript. And that blew everything apart, because we have an accurate, and if the only thing covered by the hearings was that now people agree, everybody, even our great Lieutenant Colonel, please call him Lieutenant Colonel, our great Lieutenant Colonel agrees that the transcript was accurate. I think he had one word different. We'll change the one word. It meant absolutely nothing. The transcript was professionally done by the best people there are. Just 1 second. So we have a transcript. They never thought I'd release it. They probably never thought I had it. I can only say, thank goodness I had it, because otherwise I would have been falsely accused and it would have been, sadly, my word against them. But we had other people on that call. Think of this. I was going to do something wrong on a call where I know there are many people listening.
Always.
The president of Ukraine said I did absolutely nothing wrong. He said I had no pressure whatsoever. He didn't even know what we were talking about. And we called them before I released the transcript, because it's a terrible thing to have to release a conversation with a leader from another country. It's a terrible thing. I mean, what are other countries other than Ukraine? What are they saying? So anyway, they have no case.
Why not call Bolton? Why not allow him to testify? This thing is bogus. Why
I
not
would have no
Bolton
problem other than one thing. You can't be in the White House as president. Future. I'm talking about future, many future presidents, and have a security advisor. Anybody having to do with security and legal and other things.
You're going to invoke executive privilege?
Well, I think you have to for the sake of the office. I would love everybody to testify. I like Mick to testify. I like Mike Pompeo to testify. I like Rick Perry to testify. I want everybody. But there are things that you can't do from the standpoint of executive privilege. You have to maintain that. So we'll see where it all goes. But especially a national security advisor, you can't have him explaining all of your statements about national security concerning Russia, China, North Korea, everything. You just can't do that.
How about Pelosi?
I think for the good of the office. Look, Nancy Pelosi will go down as probably the least successful Speaker of the House in the history of our nation. She has done nothing. The only thing she's done is she finally got done one of the best trade deals our country has ever made, the USMCA. That's with Mexico and Canada. But I did that. She doesn't even know what it says. She has no idea what it says. She was forced to do that. You know why? She wouldn't have done it. But she did nothing. So now she can say, I signed something. She is obsessed with impeachment. She has done nothing. She's going to go down as one of the worst speakers in the history of our country. Now, in all fairness, she's hurting our country. She's very bad for our country. And she's become a crazed lunatic. But she will go down as, I think, maybe the worst speaker in the history of our country.
How do you get more?
And she'll be overthrown pretty soon because she's doing very little, and the people are tired of it. And she's controlled by the radical left. She's controlled by AOC. She's controlled by this Tlaib. It's another great one. And she's controlled by Omar.
We just heard that they are thinking about adding another article of impeachment. They're floating this to include the events of the last few weeks. Here's what Chuck Schumer just said.
Over the past few weeks, there have been several crucial disclosures of evidence that appear to further incriminate the president. Each disclosure bolstering the argument we Democrats have made for a trial that features the relevant witnesses and documents.
Your reaction to their potentially adding to articles of impeachment they still haven't delivered to the Senate floor?
So they can't win an election that's going to take place in 10 months. They know that. And the only thing they can do, it's like with their Congressman Green when he said, we can't beat him, we have to impeach him. And they all know that. They're making things up. This is the craziest thing anyone's ever seen. And the two articles that they put in, as you know, they're not crimes. They're not even allowed to be put in. It's a disgrace.
Doesn't not show the weakness of their case, but they're still trying to rebrand this as something else?
I think it's incredible.
I've never seen anything like this.
No, I think it's incredible. I think it's really hurting them. Look, my numbers are the highest. My poll numbers. You have this guy that goes on television all the time. He gives phony numbers. As you know, my poll numbers right now today are the highest they've ever been. And by the way, people love that we took out this horrible terrorist. They love it, Soleimani. They love that we took him out. They think it's so fantastic. He should have been taken out over the last 20 years by somebody. He should have been taken out a long time ago. But my numbers are the highest they've ever been. And a lot of it's because of the impeachment hoax. It's a hoax. How would you like to be? 2.5 years. I'm under investigation, federal investigation, before I even ran. In my opinion, before I came down the escalator. But from the time I came down the escalator, I've been under investigation. They found nothing. They found nothing. Who else do you think in Washington?
No, well, few could have withstood it.
No, think of it. Not only withstood it mentally, and I think, somebody
said it
actually energizes you. Yeah, because it makes me angry. But think, who else could have withstood that? You take some of these Democrat senators, they couldn't withstand it. You know what would happen? Number one, they'd fold up like an umbrella. And number two, they'd be guilty of a lot of stuff.